God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege, and this is the Protege program. I've got two topics coming to you today. I'm going to do it in two videos. So the first one will be going up around, this will be the first one. You'll be watching it around 6 p.m. is when it'll go up tonight. And I think the next one I'm going to sit on and I'll publish it at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, so keep your eyes open for that. Coming to us first from the Rush Limbaugh radio show, Speaker Paul Ryan was on to answer a few questions about the GOP tax plan. I thought that Rush did a good job with the interview, so I wanted to get into the answers that Ryan offered. You can find this interview at Rush Limbaugh's website. If you go there, search for this headline, you can find the transcript. The transcripts are free to read, and the interview is in full on the website. The first thing that Ryan talked about was the general philosophy of the bill. And as you can see here in this paragraph, he's told Limbaugh that this is a tax cut for everybody. And it being a tax cut for everybody means that it's going to be technically true when the Democrats say that this is a tax cut for the rich. Technically true, but not as I will put it, spiritually true. You know, the technicality behind what Democrats say when they say that Republicans and conservatives want tax cuts for the rich is technically true. We do want tax cuts for the rich, but the spirit of a tax cut for the rich is not that we want to take money from the poor, the downtrodden, the middle class, etc., etc. And that's what they want you to think when they say tax cut for the rich. So as Ryan says, I think it's later in the interview, we'll get to it. As he says later in the interview, this is a tax cut that's designed to stimulate economic growth. And you know what? Let's just go to that answer. Skipping past some numbers here. Skipping past the postcard thing. Subsection S pass through. If you're interested in that kind of thing, go read up on that. Very, very interesting stuff, I'm sure, if you're interested in starting a small business. But that's not applicable to most of American viewers, probably most of my audience, so I'm going to be skipping over that at the moment, because what I'm actually looking for is, and we're going to revisit some, at least one of the things that I'm skipping over right now, but where is the... Where does he says specifically that there's a group, I'm assuming a nonpartisan group, that says that these tax cuts are going to stimulate the economy. I can't find it at this time, but suffice it to say that these tax cuts are designed to benefit the job and wealth creators in the United States of America. That, of course, is going to mean that the wealthy are going to get some tax cuts. Now, what Ryan did say is that the president is insisting on rate reductions for the middle class, and I may have missed it. Again, it's one of those things that I know it's in here somewhere, but I'm not going to be able to scroll exactly to it. But the focus of the president is on reducing rates for the middle class to give them more disposable income, while also reducing the crushing, burdensome taxes that are on the job-creating class, so that they will have the capacity to hire more individuals, offer workers higher wages, and at the same time as we're offering workers higher wages, we're reducing workers' taxes so that they have even more disposable income. So again, these very good answers, very good information that Ryan supplied in this interview. One thing, and I may not be able to scroll directly to it in this short period. You know what? While we're here, Rush is asking Speaker Ryan about some of the secret tax hikes that are supposedly in this bill. Some of the shadow tax brackets. Oh, we talked about one of them last time, the secret 45% tax bracket that is inflicted on the extremely wealthy. And Ryan answers that some these alleged sneak tax hikes are sunset provisions that the Senate never intends to actually implement. Now, he says that these sunset provisions are designed to get past the filibuster in the Senate by adhering to certain budget rules. And I think that this could come back to bite Republicans in the butt when the sunset rules are supposed to go into effect. Because, you implement a sunset rule, and that means X number of years out into the future, something is going to be terminated. On the eve of the sunset rule going into effect, you can then pass a bill to do away with the sunset rule, and then there's things that I suppose that there's things that would have to be done. I assume that there are assumptions being made about the makeup of the Senate at the time that the sunset rules will go into effect. 5 years in the future, we could have a Democrat Congress that could allow the sunset rules to take effect, and then I suppose with some finagling, you could lay that at the feet of the Democrats and say it's their fault for not getting rid of the sunset rules. 5 years down the road, we could have Republican supermajorities, a Republican supermajority in the Senate, and that could get past the filibuster, by sheer voting power. You could break past the filibuster and do a lot more in the Senate, assuming that these tax codes have a good, measurable impact on American lives, and it can be communicated that it's because of Republicans and Republican voting, the Republican tax plan, that these improvements were made. I feel like I've done a lot of rambling and haven't really got to everything that I wanted to talk about. One last thing that I wanted to address from this interview, and I hope I can find it shortly here, but if I can't, you're gonna have to trust me that it's there, unless you want to go and read the interview yourself. He talked about the international economy. As I have said before, nothing happens in a vacuum, and the American economy certainly doesn't exist in a vacuum, especially in the global world that we live in. And Ryan alludes to that when he discussed with Limbaugh the corporate tax rate, and that's getting slashed, as you know, as we've talked about. Here we go. In this new plan, the corporate tax rate is getting slashed from 35% to 20%, and Ryan cites a statistic here that the average corporate tax rate of competitive international markets is 22.5%. So bringing our corporate tax rate, which is one of the highest in the world, from 35 to 20%, beats out many of our competitors. It brings us into line with some of our even more socialistic economies that the liberals like to point to and say that we should be more like those economies. And this is one of the things that Democrats point to and say, this is a tax cut for the rich. Well, the rich are the business operators in this country. They're the job creators. So when you give a tax cut to the business class, you're giving a tax cut ostensibly to the wealthy. It's kind of a duh statement. But I certainly think this is a good thing. Obviously, you give a tax cut to the business, the small business people, the medium-sized business people, the franchisees, their managers, their employees. All those people are going to benefit. The middle class is going to benefit. The lower class is going to benefit. The chronically poor are going to benefit. You give a tax cut to the business class, and everyone across the board benefits. It's called trickle-down economics. It works logically. The only way, I'll say this, because you say the words trickle-down economics, and the left automatically makes a multitude of assumptions about the kind of people you're talking about. The only way that trickle-down economics does not work is if you assume that the people at the very top of the ladder, the people that are supposed to begin the trickle-down process, if you assume that they're going to hoard all of their money for themselves. If you, the reality of the economy is that a strong middle class and a strong chronically poor class, a strong lower class, is good for the upper class, the business class, the wealthy class. Because if they've got, if the poor have money to spend on the wealthy people's things, then the wealthy people will make money. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's to the wealthy's benefit if the poor get more money. It's to the wealthy's benefit if they make a product affordable for the poor that the poor can spend money on. If the poor are employed by the wealthy, and if the reality of the left's analysis of trickle-down economics is it breaks down when you realize how much better it is for the wealthy if the poor, if the wealthy use their money in a way that will have benefit on the middle and lower class. If they use their money to grow their businesses so that they can hire more people. If you have a person that has no job, therefore they're not spending money on your widgets, why wouldn't you grow your business so that you can hire that person so that they will then have money to spend on your widgets? You know, that's the way that trickle-down economics works. And it's such a tremendous incentive to the business person to invest in their business in that way that it's ludicrous to assume that a businessman, if he has a big pile of money, is not going to use that pile of money in a way that makes the pile of money bigger by growing his business so that it can employ more people, so that they can spend, so that they can have more money, and then they'll choose to spend that money ostensibly in ways that will make businesses bigger, which will then employ more people, which will make more people have more money so that they can spend their money on more widgets so that more people can be employed. And that's how trickle-down economics works. You know, I'm not a genius, but even I can figure this out. All it takes is a little bit of goodwill, of good faith on the part of that you would offer to the business person. that's going to do it for this video. I hope I didn't trigger too many of you by using Rush Limbaugh as a source. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about this tax plan, about economic solutions to the problems that we're facing right now. I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful evening, good night, and God bless.